I'm Christine Robinson, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you about the new WVU Medicine Center for Hope and Healing.
I'm Claudia Sessa, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll tell you what the Morgantown taxpayers are paying for in this upcoming budget.
I'm Carly Van Iver, and coming up next, I'll tell you how the opioid crisis is affecting classrooms all over the Mountain State. Our Emmy Award-winning WVU News starts now.
West Virginia's opioid crisis is hitting those who are most vulnerable, children in the classroom. I'm Claudia Sessa.
And I'm Carly Van Iver. We have the story of how WVU Medicine is helping those who are recovering from addiction.
These stories and more on WVU News, an Emmy Award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students right here at West Virginia University.
One of West Virginia's biggest issues is affecting its most vulnerable demographic. The opioid epidemic has been affecting states around the nation.
That's right, but in West Virginia, it's hitting closer to home more than ever before. Now the crisis is affecting education in the state. Joining us from Social Square is Brooke Hawthorne to tell us more. Brooke? Thanks, Claudia. West Virginia struggles with the highest drug overdose deaths in the country. While a lot of the focus goes to the addicts and their treatment, there's a forgotten segment of the population that's seriously affected. Carly Van Iver has the story.
The number of children being impacted by the statewide opioid epidemic keeps increasing every year. These children are bringing experiences of neglect, trauma, and mental health issues with them to school, and teachers are seeing effects in the classrooms.
So if we have parents that are addicted to drugs, children coming in with their basic needs are not their first priority. So we're seeing kids that are hungry, we're seeing kids who are not clothed, we're seeing kids who are not sleeping, so we're seeing kids that just don't have that basic need being met.
And Nichols goes on to say that in the classroom, that equates to not meeting their academic needs if they don't have the basic needs of food and clothing. But the kids aren't the only ones being affected. A new study done by WVU researchers found that this is taking a serious toll on the teachers. In fact, 1/3 of the teachers claim that they're constantly feeling burnt out because of the challenging environment the opioid crisis is bringing to classrooms all over the state. But the researchers came up with a plan that they believe will help make a positive impact on the children and the state.
Some of the things we observed is that teachers are already going to each other for help and support. They're using each other's resources. So we want to actually build upon that. We want to promote some sort of a buddy or mentoring system.
Teachers are hoping that additional training and resources will soon be implemented statewide. Carly Van Iver, WVU News, Morgantown.
According to researchers at WVU, 70% of teachers in West Virginia are seeing an increase in students impacted by substance abuse in their homes, but only 10% of them know how to support those affected. If you'd like to read more about the research, visit the address at the bottom of your screen.
Thanks, Brooke. West Virginia alone had more than 900 drug-related deaths. In Morgantown, WVU Medicine opened a new center for those seeking help with addiction. Christine Robinson spoke with a recovering addict who reflects on his own path to recovery.
Before John Dower began working at the West Virginia Sober Living Home, he was struggling to keep his life on the right track. As a young adult, his addiction began when he started using substances. After being in multiple car accidents, Dower realized the prescribed opioids helped him forget about all of his pain.
The opiates didn't just work for the physical pain, but they also worked for emotional pain. And once I learned that behavior, I started replicating it even without the need for pain medications for physical symptoms.
At 31 years old, his road to recovery was not an easy one, but being around others in the community who were already on their journey with recovery motivated him to get better.
They were individuals that really cared about me and were not judgmental and were there to help me really before I could even help myself.
Misuse of prescription opioids affects an estimated 15 million people each year worldwide, but only 2 million people get the help they need. And at sober living homes like this one, it gives recovering addicts a second chance.
But before coming to a sober living house, people need to detox. Here at the new WVU Medicine Center for Hope and Healing, those with a substance use disorder go through a 28-day recovery period that provides a blend of care. Director of the center, Emily Reel, says this is exactly what the state needs.
We have access to a lot of the greatest physicians, research, resources to provide the best care that we can.
Dower turned his life around with a program similar to this one, and he is so thankful for where he is now in life.
I'm a full-time student at WVU, a father. I sponsor multiple guys in 12-step rooms. So my life has flourished, and it was just because, you know, somebody gave me a second chance to do something that I didn't have skills at. And now it's much, much, much different.
Dower just recently celebrated 7 years of sobriety.
Family and friends who are wanting to help someone with substance abuse can contact the WVU Medicine Center for Hope and Healing by visiting the website at the bottom of your screen.
The proposed campus carry bill at WVU was shut down after a long debate.
Many students protested the bill as it was moving through the state legislature, but have their opinions changed since the recent shootout near campus?
Shayla Klein joins us now from Studio B. Shayla was on the scene shortly after the incident occurred near the WVU downtown campus. Shayla?
Just a day after the West Virginia Senate Judiciary Committee killed the campus carry bill, Morgantown police responded to a shots fired situation near campus. Though the situation was controlled and no one was hurt, students are still buzzing about the failed bill and the armed fugitive near campus. Armed fugitive Donkel Gray was found near Campus Avenue. U.S. Marshals were chasing the man when he shot at one of the officers. The U.S. Marshals Service fired back and the fugitive was found dead at the scene. WVU student Preston Surface said he heard the shots while walking to class.
It made me feel unprotected. I didn't feel like I could defend myself if I would have been a minute and a half earlier up the road. I could have been me at gunpoint. So it doesn't make me feel safe at all.
The fugitive was wanted for shooting a Bluefield, Virginia police officer during a traffic stop in February. Though classes stayed in session, WVU sent out alerts warning students of a shots fired situation. Last year was one of the deadliest years for school shootings. On average, there was one every single week. While U.S. Marshals chased the fugitive, both Falling Run and College Avenue were closed off to traffic. Some students saw snipers on top of Ming Shea Hall and officers with large guns. These images, combined with little information at the time, left some students terrified.
People for both sides were definitely tweeting about it. And I think you have your opinions, but it didn't change mine at all. People need to be responsible with the guns, that's something, and there does need to be more gun control.
Campus carry was officially killed at the end of the legislative session. Legislators who support campus carry won't get a chance to pass a similar bill until next year's legislative session. Following the situation, WVU has received reports that some staff and students did not receive text alerts warning about the situation. Anyone who has not received notification is encouraged to go to alerts.wvu.edu to make sure that their information is correct. Now back to you at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Shayla. The Morgantown City Council recently reviewed the city's 2019-2020 budget. The budget includes a 2.5% cost of living increase for city employees. The council voted 6-1 to adopt its almost $37.5 million budget for this upcoming fiscal year. I was at the city council meeting to find out more.
At this city council meeting, concerned citizens stood up to share their thoughts on the upcoming budget. Many of them speaking on behalf of the Morgantown Board of Parks and Recreation, saying how important it is for the city to maintain these areas.
The proximity of a park to where you live is very important in this culture, in this community, and our parks are aging, so we need the additional budget in order to improve and really provide that necessary resource for our citizens and the families.
In addition to the Bow Park budget, Councilman Ryan Wallace attempted to amend a section of the budget proposed by City Manager Paul Brake, which dictates an in-house attorney. The amendment would have kept the City Attorney's office right here in City Hall.
I had some pretty serious concerns about the policy that we were trying to implement, specifically the outsourcing of a public office. I think that if you're in public service, you should be closely connected to the other elements of public service. And I'm concerned that we're just outsourcing the legal department.
The amendment failed in a 4-3 vote, eliminating the city attorney's office, opting for a private agreement with a local law firm instead. Other items on the budget include the Safe Streets and Safe Community municipal fee, generating approximately $4.5 million for a full year of collections.
For more information on the Morgantown City budget, you can visit the address at the bottom of your screen.
The city's budget has grown by more than $2 million from last year.
And the growing budget is in line with the state's economy. The state has added almost 9,000 jobs since 2017. Most of these jobs were in construction, coal, and the natural gas industry, as well as other blue-collar jobs. The state was hit hard by the recession as West Virginia lost 26,000 jobs from 2012 to 2016. Experts say this job surge is a positive sign that the economy in the state is on the upswing, but caution that many challenges remain.
That's great news for our state.
I agree. Well, if you enjoy watching Dancing with the Stars, you won't want to miss our very own version at the end of the show.
And coming up after the break, John Lowe talks about how star players Will Greer and David Sills performed at WVU football's Pro Day.
I'm John Lowe, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll have all the highlights from West Virginia's Pro Day.
We conquer mountains, but that's not why they call us Mountaineers. It's because we don't let anything stand in our way. We build what's never been built, seek cures for the incurable, and go first into undiscovered frontiers. We are Mountaineers, and impossible is just another mountain to climb.
Will Greer and David Sills were two of the top seniors from the 2018 WVU football campaign.
Sports anchor Chris Marzullo joins us now with more. Chris?
Thanks, Carly. Claudia. And the success at WVU has them getting looks from NFL teams. One of the most dynamic duos in WVU history gave NFL scouts another look as Greer, Sills, and other Mountaineers tried to increase their chances of being drafted by one of the pro teams. Scouts from the National Football League arrived in Morgantown to see the best talent WVU has to offer before the upcoming draft. Players went through drills so scouts could judge where and if they should be drafted. John Lowe has more.
At the WVU indoor practice facility, prospects took part in one of the final stops on the path from college football to the NFL. After participating in the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine, Will Greer and David Sills, among others, returned to Morgantown to show off their skills at WVU's Pro Day.
Living out of suitcases for a while now. I'm ready to get settled down and play ball, man. I'm a football player. I'm excited to get to whatever place gives me an opportunity and go play ball.
Will should have plenty of opportunities to play ball as scouts from all 32 NFL teams, including Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, took the trip to Morgantown to check out the available prospects. The NFL media was also in full force, with Will, David, and Gary Jennings sitting down with the NFL Network. For prospects, Pro Day is the last opportunity to make an impression to NFL scouts and make that final push in hopes of getting drafted. Along with their game film, pro prospects also have to do other events such as the 40-yard dash and some other throwing drills to impress the NFL scouts. During Pro Day, Will did not run the 40 or do the broad jump, choosing instead just to throw, reuniting with Sills, Trevon Wesco, and Dominic Maiden. For David, throwing with Will in front of the scouts made Pro Day that much sweeter.
I mean, I felt good about the whole workout. Felt like me and Will were on the same page pretty much with everything. So it was good to throw and you know, get back with him and throw in front of all these coaches.
John Lowe, WVU News, Morgantown.
Greer, Sills, and the rest of the Mountaineers declared for the draft will now have to wait until late April to see where they end up. The NFL draft is April 25th through the 27th.
Thanks, Chris. Another exciting event recently took place right here on WVU's campus.
That's right. WVU put its own twist on the hit TV show Dancing with the Stars when they held their annual Dancing with Our Mountaineer Stars competition. 16 groups of students and staff competed for the coveted first place Mirror Ball trophy. From hip-hop dancing to swing dancing, dancers had the opportunity to choreograph their own dance and pick their own song. And we are happy to report that our own former WVU News reporters, Sierra Davis and Anderson Small, won first place in the competition.
That sounds like it was a lot of fun. Well, that's it for this week's edition of WVU News. You can visit us online on our website.
You can also watch our shows on YouTube and follow us and our reporters on Twitter. I'm Carly Van Iver.
And I'm Claudia Sessa. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.